Hello, gamers. It is Cuddlepunk once again. Do I even need to introduce these guys? You've all heard their 2020 album Atlanta. You know that no other band could make you feel like they can. They should change their name to Boundless Waters the way they be making me cry. Boundary Waters is here. Guys, how are we doing today?
Doing great, Ronnie. Thank you. That's
Good. We're good. Thanks for having us.
very kind.
Absolutely. All right, so I'm gonna have you guys start off by introducing yourselves. I'm wanting your names, your pronouns, and your roles in the band slash if you write for the band.
Very good. I'll go first. I'm Andy, he, him pronouns, and I sing, I play guitar, and I write the lyrics and write the first part of the songs before they turn into something interesting.
Hey, Duncan Riley, pronouns he, him, and his. I play bass for the band, although I did not play on Atalanta. That was my lovely colleague, couldn't be here today, John Manaverde. And I write my bass parts and also will occasionally tell Andy, hey, what if this chord were this chord?
Yeah.
It's about
Fantastic.
Duncan knows shit about chords, which is very helpful in a musical enterprise.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
You
just
gotta
be the
have at
two of
least
us today, and then we've got Duncan mentioned John, who has been with the project from the very beginning. He's kind of a multi-instrumentalist, does all kinds of stuff. Tim Suratani plays guitar; he's sort of the lead guitarist, and then Clint Bergen is our drummer. Yeah, those folks couldn't make it tonight, so just be the two of us.
hell yeah. So Andy and Duncan, I'm gonna have you guys right now. I want to hear your individual music journeys before arriving at Boundary Waters.
Okay, yeah, cool. So, I mean, like I don't know, my parents plopped me down in front of a piano when in second grade and started taking lessons and got into I was playing trombone and did the whole like high school band thing. I played in a punk ska band in high school that was like that was my passion at that time. We recorded a couple albums. I started playing guitar and then in writing even back like when I think back to like playing when I was playing piano in like third grade, I was already trying to write songs. They were very simple, obviously, but they also kind of had some of the same instincts that I still have in terms of just like going for sheer melodrama at all times. But yeah, and I've played in a few bands along the way. I did a lot of like theatrical sound design and composition, was kind of doing that for a while in college and afterward. Boundary Waters started as really a home studio, like solo project when I didn't really, I don't know, I just didn't know a lot of other musicians and I didn't really have like that world. And then many years later, it became a band, and I met the people who I had been waiting to meet to bring together and make it a full live band. So that's kind of my journey.
My musical journey starts, as so many of them do, with the 2004 Jack Black comedy School of Rock. I saw that movie and I was
Yeah.
like, that looks like fun. I want to do that. I just like made it seem like playing music with your friends and sticking it to the man was like the most fun thing that a person could do. And it turns out, truth in television. It really is. Uh, when I got to about high school, I started playing in the jazz ensemble there. I just like essentially just wanted to do a little bit more beyond rock, get into the kind of theoretical side of thing. As Andy has mentioned, I haven't managed to forget all of that quite yet, and I've even still been trying to like keep that going. But for a large portion of my musical existence, I've been thinking about music in terms of like texture. I have an experimental solo project called Cairns, which has been for a little while was like the one thing I was doing. And so yeah, I'd been mostly happy in my role as like a lead guitarist for other bands, not really touching the songwriting too much, not really touching the structure too much. But yeah, Andy asked me to join on bass in the summer of 2021, and it's been a really cool experience being in Boundary Waters, getting both to play bass parts and now write bass parts and kind of think about what the bass really adds to the song, but also just like seeing a kind of songwritery focused project up close and kind of think a little bit more about like what kind of contributions I might want to make in my own solo stuff.
Absolutely. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this, you guys are probably best known for your 2020 album Atalanta. Andy, so there's no real like, you little bastard, there's no smarter way to like ask this question. Like, what does Atalanta like mean? I guess like it's very clearly like there's some big thing that it's representing there, but I am unfortunately too dumb to figure out what it is.
There's I'm sure that's not true. I'm always, when I watch your videos, just kind of in awe of the breadth of your musical knowledge and the references and things that you can pull and connections you can make. And before we go any further, let me just say thank you, not only for letting us do this, but for just doing what you do to shine a light on artists in our scene, to not just like be a fan of music, but to like interpret and dig into music and to appreciate it with the level of care that the musicians are putting into it themselves. Like that is such a rare and special thing. You don't know how much it means to the people who like are putting that care in, to see someone on the other listening side like just drawing so much from it and doing so much with it. It's a beautiful thing. So I just want to say thank you for that.
You're welcome. Gotta move on fast. Can't handle that actually. Gonna move on real quick.
Okay. All right. Okay. Sweet. Okay. So let's talk about my emotional bullshit and Atalanta. Okay. There's no like, it's not a concept album and there's not like an encoded meaning, but it does have, it really does have a central theme. I wrote the songs on this album coming out of a 13-year relationship. That is, it's a story that would take too long to tell, but and reflecting on the whole life cycle of a relationship, of a life-size relationship like that has beauty in it, that has pain in it, that has unhealthy and life-giving dynamics all wrapped up in one big impossible thing. And this album to me was processing that and trying to write songs that captured the different life stages of a relationship. I didn't go into it programmatically trying to like it's not a rock opera, it's not musical theater, like it's not rigidly held together in that way, but like it tries to capture beginning, middle, end of a relationship journey. And the name itself, Atalanta, is a figure from Greek mythology, and that song represents to me the beginning of a relationship where you have a sort of you're creating the mythology of the relationship. Like you see that person, they're larger than life. You feel larger than life being with them, being a part of them. It's what's so exciting at the beginning of a relationship, that sense that like we're not just like two people who found each other. We're like, we are creating the world's greatest story together. And the mythology of that, the album tracks sort of where that goes and what happens when that meets reality. But yeah, that's a couple little keys into the album that I would offer.
Just the way that you're describing it, even not even going into it sonically, there is such a theatricality to the music that you guys make. The two big like connections that I made immediately while hearing it were Ricky Montgomery and then weirdly Dear Evan Hansen, a musical I do not like but do love the music from. Okay. So is there some sort of theatrical, do you have a background in like musical theater or anything, or any appreciation therein that's gone into the making of Atalanta?
I've never really connected with musical theater, to be quite honest. And
if you'll excuse me, that's all of Boys Town coming to get Andy right now.
Oh, I know. It's one of my like least acceptable opinions. But I've always been melodramatic. So like, there's that. Like, I mean, like, like I've always had an instinct to take the stuff of everyday life and like try to make it feel big and, epic and cinematic. I mean, so like I think that instinct is like pretty clearly uh present in all the Boundary Waters stuff.
Absolutely. I want to talk about the production side of things really quickly. I don't know if this is an intentional thing, but another reason why I bring up the musical theater thing is because a lot of the times when you hear like standard rock music, the vocals are right in the middle of the mix. You guys basically lay your vocals directly on top of everything. Is there significance to having the lyrics be so and the vocals be so present?
Um when we started, I think I'm basically new to singing with this project, and I don't have a ton of confidence around it. So when we started producing that album, um, we produced it all ourselves, but then we worked with Brock Mende, Friends of Friends Recording, to do the mixing and mastering. And my first instinct was to keep the vocals lower because I kind of wanted to hide. But as I listened back to those mixes, I realized like it doesn't really suit the material. Like against my better judgment, we've like written we've written music that requires the vocals and the lyrics to register. Um, so I just have to kind of like face that fear and deal with it. And yeah, we put a lot of care into lyrics and want songs to be accessible and singable and sing along, So yeah, we've wanted those to come through.
That's awesome. I know you guys are working on a new album right now. How has the process of that been going?
It's
Right
we're
until our drummer broke his foot.
yeah.
Oh,
Yes, yeah. R.I.P. Clint's ankle. I mean, we were. It was going to be a gradual recording process anyway because we do everything ourselves and we take our time with things. But yeah, Clint broke his ankle, and the real tragedy was that he had just got like the new drum kit of his dreams, like his like lifelong companion, perfect dream drum kit arrived. He has it in his home. He hasn't gotten to set it up and play it yet because he broke his ankle like the day after he got it. So he's had surgery. He's doing PT. He'll be back behind the kit in a couple months, we think. How long after that until he feels ready to in playing shape to record, we'll put no that's we'll dig in when he's ready. In the meantime, we're just doing pre-production stuff, finishing the writing, finishing the arrangement, just figuring out all the songs. And we'll be ready to go when the time is right. I think producing the album will probably take the better part of this year, just kind of the way we go. And looking forward to it.
and Duncan,
Yeah.
with you being with you having not played on Atalanta, but this is your first time recording with the band, how has the process been for you so far?
It's been a really cool process. I liked that I've gotten to do about a year and a half of live stuff with Boundary Waters before like digging into the recording and stuff like that. Because at this point, it like if they had just brought me in as like just the guy who was going to do the bass parts, I would be terrified. But now I feel like, okay, I actually feel like kind of I'm a part of this band. I like have a little bit of leeway to like figure out like how the parts, how my parts fit in there. Since like when I was brought in, I was a big fan. My name is in the thanks for the records in the first one,
Right.
which I'm very proud of. But like, you get a different sense of it, like playing the music and learning it that way. So yeah, I think this is really just like another way of appreciating my friend Andy's music, and it's a pretty beautiful thing.
That's awesome. I'm super excited about that. I don't know which one of you guys runs the Boundary Waters Twitter, but there was a tweet that had stuck out to me recently.
That's me. Yeah.
That's you,
Sorry.
Andy. All right. There's a tweet that had stuck out to me recently. You were saying something about like the singles versus albums discourse that's been happening recently.
Yeah.
Those comments that you made, so were they in terms of creating or absorbing music, and is one different than the other?
Well, first of all, thank you for paying attention to the Boundary Waters Twitter account. Like it is, it's just where my dumb little random thoughts go to just get out of my head and not bother anybody. Because truly, like nobody follows the account.
The first time that you actually made me uncomfortable with kindness was not on this interview. It was on Twitter about the Nora Marks interview.
Oh yeah. That was a great one. I love those guys and loved seeing them. You get to kind of open up their music in that way. Yeah, no, usually it's just what happens on Twitter is I have some dumb thought, I post it there. Josh from Cut Your Losses will like it, and that is the complete circuit. That's the complete life cycle of a Boundary Waters tweet.
Josh is never not in the replies.
Much love to Josh. But yeah, so I don't know. People were talking about like singles versus albums, and I had said like I get why like bands do just really focus on singles. I think strategically or tactically that probably is the best way to build a band or just keep the content flowing in that sense. But my mind is too poisoned by like 90s, growing up in the 90s and like album culture and just like sitting in my bedroom listening to albums front to back. So I for our stuff, it would be smarter for us to just like put out a single every 2 months, but I just kind of want to think in a larger on a larger canvas and express. I like when songs relate to a central theme or just draw something out of each other so that it adds up to more. And I think I'm cursed to like always be chasing that. Although I might do some. I'm like really interested in like Tommy Kessler did like he recorded like nine or 10 songs, but he released them as like sort of three song EPs that also add up to a whole. And I saw that and I was like, okay, that's like maybe where I could meet like sing contemporary like release strategy like in the middle, because that seemed really interesting and full of possibilities.
I was just talking to Tommy about that. I thought that was really interesting too. Talking about having everything come around like a central theme. What kind of themes can we be expecting on the new album?
Okay, so everything I told you about about Atalanta, obviously that's like a very personal record to me. And it's very much focused on, the sort of one-to-one of an intimate relationship. The new songs I mostly started writing during lockdown, and they come from like there was a period in my life where my world was very small and I'd kind of just had that central relationship and I didn't have a community, I didn't have a lot of friends. And then there was this chapter after that ended where I just found this community of people. I had so much like social energy happening. I was just loving like finding people, connecting people, making friends again. And like then we had lockdown and I was like, I miss all my friends so much. So like these are songs that are much more like portraits of friends, songs to friends, about friends. There's pieces of me in all of them just like inevitably because they're kind of going through my filter, but it's much more of a like I don't know, I'm thinking of it as just sending love to friends versus like reflecting on a romantic relationship.
I can't wait to hear that. I feel like the scene has needed like an album about itself for a little bit now, and I'm excited to if that's what that this seems like it's going to be. I'm really excited to hear that. Boundary Waters, thank you guys so much for doing this. This has been easily one of the most impressive interviews I've done so far. I'm so happy that you guys were willing to come on. Where can we find you guys, both at the band and individually?
Okay. Well, Ronnie, thank you again so much. And yeah, for this and for all that you do. Yeah, band is most active on Instagram. That's the platform that that's the one that we understand the best. You can go on Twitter and see our like, our single like tweets. And I think we still have a Facebook, but who knows what's going on there. We're on all the distribution platforms. Bandcamp is where we have all of our merch. And yeah, that's Boundary Waters. Duncan, tell them about to tell the folks about your projects.
Yeah. I other than Boundary Waters, I do the solo project called Cairns. It's Cairns, and it's Cairns Shy CHI at on Instagram and on Bandcamp. Gonna look my shit up there. Yeah, that's the main thing. Got a few other projects. I don't want to take too long, like all of them out.
Duncan's the busiest man in show business, so that's just he's got projects.
Poor impulse control when it comes to like not starting another thing.
I feel that.
Do we want to talk about the other one though?
Our alter ego project is Glorybringer, which is a metal band featuring the Boundary Waters lineup, just playing different instruments. So Tim, Boundary Waters lead guitarist, writes and screams for Glorybringer. We're having the time of our life with this project. So yeah, that's been our like sun and moon, like Boundary Waters, songs about love and friendship, and then like Glorybringer, like Eat the Rich, imagining like fantastical violence against the system. Like it takes both. So yeah, check out Glorybringer because it's
Glorybringer just put out a new project this past weekend. You should absolutely go check that out if you haven't already. You should also check out Atalanta, but I know you have. I said that at the beginning already, so I don't need to say it again. And yet I have. If you guys like this interview, please like the video. Please leave a comment down below saying who else you would like to see me interview. And hey, maybe click the subscribe button and make sure to hit the bell to be notified when I make a new video. It is getting easier. Love that. Guys, thank you so much for being here once again. It's been a blast. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks, Ronnie.
So much.